to me, really the secret, or if someone asks, the secret really is knowing yourself, identifying or finding what you are good at, and then doing it consistently.
Hey folks, Nick Culbertson here, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Moby Pixel Show. Today I'm interviewing your friend and my friend and your friend and my friend, Ali Mirza. Ali is a social media marketing strategist and guru expert guy. He has both clients and he creates his own content, and he's constantly doing experiments on social media. And we're lucky to have him today sharing his insights with us. When we were Netflix and chilling, he was working on social media. When we went to that ball game and we were choosing between having some Papa John's pizza or hot dogs, he was on social media. And he talks about things in a way that are kind of surprising in the context of social media marketing. Things like having self-awareness, finding what works for you, and being consistent. We also cover things like what is new with YouTube Shorts and what he thinks about organic growth with Instagram. So all that's coming up right now. Stay tuned. I've made a little menu here. Maybe it was here. I don't know which side it's on. But if you feel like jumping around through the video, here are some timestamps. They will also be in the description, so you can go to specifically what you want to see, or you can just watch the video from start to finish like a normal human being. Why are you in such a rush all the time? You're gonna learn something. So, without further ado, I bring you this conversation with Ali Mirza. How's it going, man? My goodness, it looks like you are back at Node.
I am. Actually, I've been here all this time. So,
Yeah.
Nick, one quick thing. You're gonna record video too, right?
Yep, I'm recording it right now. You are in the midst of it.
Oh,
The Moby Pixel Show! So one of the reasons I wanted to ask you on, aside from I can selfishly use the information you give me, is that you've been on every iteration of show or meetup I've had. You were on Game Dev Deconstructed. You were came to the meetups as a panelist for social media marketing, and now finally, as I start this new show, which is a show like Seinfeld, it's a show about nothing, just to have a show. Now I have you on here. It is the Moby Pixel Show.
oh, got it. Awesome.
And you are
Yeah, actually,
you
that's
are
what.
guest number one. You are patient zero.
Awesome. Well, that's. I never say. See, to me, when you create content, right? So there's so many. But one is, I may say something that people watch and they may learn and implement, and it benefits them. That's the first benefit. The second is, we may learn from each other. The third benefit is just the content itself is I cannot tell you, and we'll get into this, with your questions too, how much opportunity and like the doors have opened. Because the first like 3 or 4, when I started my business, the first 3 and 4 years was me not creating any content and just focus on clients. Because I was like, let's get clients, more money, more clients, more money. But at some point I realized, hey, let's also put content under your name, build your brand, build your name. And it has opened so many like doors and opportunities for me. And I that's the number one thing. When I run into people, my first sort of like thing is, hey, create content, pick podcast, pick YouTube, pick TikTok, Instagram, whichever medium you like. I use most of them because that's sort of like my job. That's what I like to do. But pick whichever one you like and then create content, because it has, when you create content, there are like unlimited sort of like benefits in the long run.
Yes. Oh, there's the key. In the long run.
Okay.
Just to piggyback on that, it does feel like an uphill climb early on creating that content because you're not seeing the numbers right away. And then as you do, there are some of these social media platforms, YouTube included, are problematic in terms of what they do to your psyche. So I'm a fan of creating on these platforms, but I'm not really too much of a fan of becoming a full-time consumer on them because they can be time sucks. You can start to equate your own personal importance into the number of likes that something you put out. And I find it hard to build up a resiliency that the work that I put out doesn't need to represent my value as a person.
Yep.
But part of your ABC of marketing, the attract, build, in the building phase, it means that I'm engaging more with people. And in that engagement, it becomes your social media feed, what you started out as, hey, I need to do some marketing, I'm going to use social media, becomes a very personal thing. And you do actually build human relationships with all these people. And then next thing you know, you're just a part of the crowd, and I wake up in the morning before I've seen my wife, I've seen my Twitter feed,
Yeah, so many good things, Nikki, that you mentioned. It's kind of interesting. I think to me, this even like starting a business, and probably you do it too. You have your own business, and even like being active on social and creating content. The biggest thing, it's sort of like a class in like personal development and self-awareness. Because a lot of people that I also coach and consult with a lot of people. There's a group of people that I see, and I almost have to tell them, do not consume any content. Because if you start consuming content, what's going to happen is you're going to, get into the consumption cycle, and you'll never like produce, right? Because obviously they come to me with the goal of, hey, we want to build our brand, right? So if you want to build your brand, your personal or your business, you have to create content. If you have to create content, you have to kind of figure out what works for me. Am I good with video, or am I good with audio? Am I good on YouTube with educational content? Am I good on TikTok with like short and in the moment type of thing? So I really have to sort of like understand the client or the person, and then give them suggestions or recommendation based on that. Sometimes I tell them, no consumption for you. Do not consume any content. But then there's another group, and it's interesting. When they consume content, they're sort of more looking at ideas. Oh, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know you could create, games and also like music videos on YouTube like Nick is doing, right? So this second group, if they are not consuming, it's sort of like they don't know what opportunities or how to kind of like get inspired. When you start creating content, your task number one or your project number one is to really self-awareness, to look inside and see who you are. What kind of like, are you the kind of person who, if you start scrolling and you're never going to stop, and that's going to keep you from producing content, which is the ultimate goal? Or are you, when you're consuming content, are you more of looking at the content from a lens of, hey, I didn't know you could make these type of videos, so that's just another. Actually, I'm probably both a little bit, but sometimes when I watch other videos, I saw some people doing whiteboard videos, right? And I was like, oh my God, I'm a teacher, and when you do whiteboard videos, I don't have to be on the camera, right? So I can just teach a concept. I can draw the ABC diagram on a whiteboard and just flip my camera, and I'm not on the camera, but I'm just showing that piece of paper whiteboard and make the video. And sometimes those videos do really well. And if I had not consumed that type of content, I probably would not have known, or it wouldn't, the idea wouldn't occur to me. So I think the biggest thing is, it's not easy, but really when you create content on social, build your brand, there's a lot to be said about self-awareness, knowing yourself, because everyone is different. What works for me is not going to work for any other people. What works for you is not going to work for me. Last year, there was a time, I think from February 25th onward 6 months, I uploaded a video a day on YouTube.
Oh gosh, that's awesome.
Every single day. It was, and actually February 25th. So I started before the pandemic. So somehow I was like, it was kind of like a challenge for me. And it wasn't really, the way I produce my content, it's not super produced. I don't use like HD cameras, or, I use the two cameras I use is one my phone, and the second is my Mac, my computer. Because the type of content I wanted to make was more like screencasts. So I was showing people stuff, right? So it was less about me and my lifestyle and how I looked, and more about, hey, how do you click on this and then go to this and then go to this and create Facebook ads or Instagram ads? So I kind of like challenged myself to, create every single day. But then obviously there was a time when I stopped, every single day. But I think it's really, when you start creating content, you have to kind of pay attention to you, look inside, more self-awareness, and less, hey, I'm just going to copy other people, because what they're doing may not work for you. You may get burned out, in week number 2. It's kind of like a long rant.
No, that makes perfect sense. And another thing that reminds me of from seeing you talk previously is whenever people are trying to choose which social media platform to go on, you had said to look at sort of what other people are doing in your demographic, whatever it is that you're choosing to do, but to then pick one as opposed to trying to do all of the different things. And I am guilty of trying to having had done all the different things. And now I'm on the precipice of deleting my Instagram account. You know, it's like social media platforms are use it or lose it. And I'm not using it, man. I don't even know if I went on to Instagram, do I like someone's post? Is it a thumbs up? Is it a heart? I don't even know. I feel like I'm the total boomer kid whenever it comes to going on Instagram. But Twitter, I get it. I'm a user. I'm in that ecosystem. I've put my flagpole down. But even just during this time of the pandemic, we've seen TikTok, a new platform that has jumped up to the top. And we've also seen out of nowhere, a Clubhouse seems like it came out. And then you have YouTube, which is starting to become, used to be just for video, but it seems like it's becoming more and more of a social platform now with communities, shorts, and stories.
Yep. No, I think I'll add a couple of things. One, you're right. And I think more power to you picking which platforms you want to use, not like get used by social media platforms, right? So it's totally fine to say, okay, I want to focus on this. And actually, even though I seem like I'm all over the place, which is kind of like my job, but there was a time I was super active on Quora. And for like 6 months, I was there every single day. And then my focus changed or my priorities changed. And then I was super active on LinkedIn. And then LinkedIn kind of changed, and now I'm active on like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Those 3 platforms, right? So I think it's totally fine to decide which one you want to use, and then go after, go double down or go heavy on those, because they're all. If we do something that we are not enjoying it's going to be really hard for us to stay consistent. Right. And this is the game of consistency. Example I've used all the time is this is kind of like going to the gym. So if I go to gym only like once in 6 months, it doesn't matter how perfect my dumbbell curls are. If the consistency is not there, I'm not going to see any results. Right. The same thing with all these social media platforms. Right. So it doesn't matter how perfect my one tweet is or how perfect my one video is. If I have to do something or get something out of Twitter, I have to be consistent, regular, right? Same on YouTube, same on Instagram, same on like TikTok. Now, one thing I'll kind of say, step back in, a lot of it is also like context. So sometimes if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, Ali, our goal is to build our business. So I have this business, e-commerce store or gaming studio or furniture store or whatever, right? This is my business. What should I do on social? So then my kind of like suggestion to them is, identify where your target audience is, right? So let's say if it's on Instagram, right? And then you want to go and see what other people are doing to get some inspiration. And then, you want to create content there because you already know where your audience is and your goal is to grow your business, meaning you want to bring people to your business, right? So that's sort of like with that context, usually that's my advice. And then I talk to another group of people where they're like, hey, I want to be a creator. I love doing music. I love doing, I love coaching people, or I love, creating something. I want to be a content creator. So to them, I say, okay, so look at different platforms and then identify what's natural for you. What's easy for you? For example, for me, it's easy to make videos and especially short form videos. Audio is not easy for me, so that's why I don't do podcasts. Writing is not easy or natural for me. That's why I don't write, blogs. So I double down on like my strength, right? So with this second group, again, the context changed. The first group asked me, hey, our goal is to grow our business. The second group is the question was a little bit different, right? They wanted to create and create it consistently and also be known for, let's say, their talent, right? So I think this is why it's, one piece of advice is not going to apply. And something that I have learned and I'm still like learning over time, one piece of advice, there's no like a generic advice that's going to apply to everyone. Let's say if I'm super active on TikTok, but I tell it to someone who's more good at audio or probably better at long form video. I tell that person, stop doing everything and get on TikTok. It's going to be horrible advice for that person, right? Because that person actually is more long winded, or they need more time to express their thoughts or whatever they want to say. So I think it kind of goes back to sort of identifying what you really want to achieve from social media, online, and then really like doing things that align with who you are as a person, self-awareness, and then adding consistency to it. And again, I think like you said, it's you don't have to be on all the platforms. Absolutely not. Especially if you want to see results.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that advice could be different for other people, like you said.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you gave early on in the pandemic, because I've been watching your Instagram lives and the Facebook lives, YouTube lives, whatever live things you've been doing, I've been seeing them. And one of them is a question one. I don't even remember the question I asked. I think it was when you're trying to start growing an audience, what type of content should you be posting? And your answer surprised me. I expected you to say something along the lines of, you should be, sharing content of other people who are in your space and grow together. Or maybe you'd say, just tell your story. But instead you said, just create. Don't worry about what it is. Just it seemed like it was more about the consistency and output of just creating stuff and getting the ball rolling. And I took that torch and ran with it for a long time, and still, as a matter of fact, I think that it became one of the foundational pieces of sort of me changing the way I envision my own brand, was that Moby Pixel was initially started to just be games, music-related games. And at a certain point, I determined that Moby Pixel it's my business. It's an app business for whenever I put out apps, but it's also for YouTube videos whenever I put out content there. And I also have radio apps. I also am learning how to Ollie, and I want to make a video about learning how to Ollie. And all these things, it was so hard for me to resolve under one umbrella. What is this? Because it's certainly not a niche. A little context to it, I, during the same time, was reading a book. Oh, what's his name, man? Linchpin.
Oh, Seth Godin, yeah.
Yeah, so I was reading Seth Godin, and I was reading Linchpin. And it's great. Seth Godin's a great writer. I love seeing him talk. One of the things he said is the biggest mistake that our school system did for our kids is it teaches children to be well-rounded. And that sort of stopped me in my tracks, because it's sort of the argument of we shouldn't teach people to be generalists, we should teach them to be specialists. But if, in theory, it makes sense. If I'm trying to work for a company, it might make sense, because you don't want a mechanic who's also a great ballet dancer. Those are not the two qualities you're looking for in someone. But whenever you are someone who is creating content, a content creator, then it is good to have a broad spectrum to pull from, because you don't know which area is going to hit, and not to mention, whenever you're making a video, you're having to be a filmmaker, but then you're going to have to put it up on YouTube. So you're going to have to learn how to make a thumbnail. So you're going to be a graphic artist. And you're going to have to make it interesting, but it also has to be marketable. So you're going to be a marketing person. So you end up wearing all these different hats for any little micro project that you put out. And your advice on just create sort of set me up for that, to the point where now I've been saying that my specialty is I am a creative generalist.
Man, that's awesome. I think I gotta use that too. But Nick, the thing I really learned, because if you pick online, right? I mean, the way we get discovered online, the way we attract people is through our content, right? So when people watch, content is a medium how we connect to people, people connect to us, right? And one thing I kind of realized was people do not just want to connect to logos; they want to connect to the person behind the logo. So they don't want to just, if they work with someone or they want to do business with someone, they also want to know what's the, that person's life, what type of music they like, what type of, coffee, what do they do when they vacation or travel, right? So, and also, when you create a lot of content, it also you probably heard this term a lot. And hey, how do I find my passion? How do I discover my passion? And usually, I kind of learned it's by taking action. It's by doing different things, and then you'll realize which one pulls you in more, which one gets you in your flow zone more. And then, you may be, let's say you're doing gaming content and music content and, some other, updates or stuff like that. You may, down the road, you may realize, hey, there's one type of content that I really, really, really like. When I create that content, I'm in my flow. And also I'm seeing people connect to me more through that content compared to other two or three types. So I think also by creating content is a way that you can kind of like, go towards or discover sort of your passion. But it's all about, there's another kind of like terminology these days which people use a lot, personal brands, right? So one person, everyone online, according to me, is a brand, and you can definitely have multiple interests. Even though most of my content, again, what I am good at, what I'm comfortable with, most of my content is about, business and marketing and social. But someone can look at that and say, hey, you're not really like focused, because you're talking about Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. There are people out there who just talk about YouTube. There are people out there who just talk about like Instagram, right? But then there will be other people who look at me and say, hey, you're like too focused and niche. We don't know what your life is. We don't know. We never see your family in your content. We never see like your lifestyle in your content. So it's in depending on what lens you look at, people are going to have like different opinion. For one group of people, I'm like too niche and too focused. For another group, they're like, hey, all of your content is about business. There's no lifestyle into it, right? So I think I'm the thing I've learned is forget about all of that. Create content that's easy and natural for you, and then let that kind of creation help you discover where you want to focus on more, where you want to double down more. Because if you don't do the initial creation, it's going to be really difficult to kind of like follow or find your flow zone or sort of quote unquote passion. And also, another thing is, to me, quantity leads to quality. So that's one thing that kind of kept me, because I used to think, oh, my videos are not going to be perfect. People do editing. I don't have an editor. Should I, hire an editor? But then, along came TikTok or Instagram or even like Snapchat, where I saw some other people doing really raw videos. And I'm like, they're doing really raw videos. So what if I started just doing raw videos, but me teaching the stuff that I like to do, right? So that's how I was able to kind of like find my like flow zone in the in the content creation. Before that, I wasn't really like creating a lot of content, because part of me was thinking it needs to be perfect. My grammar is horrible, so the fact that the reason I didn't write much was like, hey, if I write something, I have to send it to someone who can proofread and make it perfect. And the reason I didn't make videos, I was like, it has to be good lighting, good sound, good everything, because that's sort of like required. But guess what? It's not, because there are 8 billion people on, kind of like, I don't know how many are online, huge. So no matter what we do, if we do it consistently, we will find an audience for that.
Right.
So it's sort of like to me, really the secret, or if someone asks, the secret really is knowing yourself, identifying or finding what you are good at, and then doing it consistently. If you're good at, some people do not want to be on video, fine. Just do, podcasts, right? Or write stuff. Some people are like me, they're good on short form video. I'm still not. One of the reasons why I pushed myself to do 6 months of YouTube content, because I always thought, hey, I can't do long videos, because I don't know if I can give like direct answers. That's what I'm good at, but I can't really like create a story or teach someone for like, 10 minutes or 5 minutes or stuff. So I kind of like challenged myself I did it more for myself, was trying to find, okay, what's my way of creating longer content? How do I find that? And if I had not done it consistently, like, for 6 months, every single day, I would not have found like my own kind of like, formula or my own recipe for creating YouTube.
Right. And I think that's a part of just throwing you do a lot of experiments in all the things you're doing,
Yes.
and you've learned a lot with it, and all the experiments you do, you share what your findings
Yes.
were. And I think part of that comes from your programming background, that there is this
Yes.
iterative approach of you do these things and you're like, "Oh, well that was awful. Okay, let's try
Yeah.
again." And then sometimes a small tweak can make everything just right. Fortunately, it looks like the internet is moving towards that short form content, because things
Yeah.
like Instagram, YouTube, they are all evolving, constantly
Yep.
evolving. I'm a part of a lot of art communities, and I did want to ask you this question because it's been coming up time and time again.
Mm.
Is organic reach in Instagram dead?
It's not. It's crazy. Actually, there was I think if you asked me this question probably in the early part of 2020, my answer would probably be yes, it's dead. And again, because I wasn't really like seeing a lot of organic reach from even my account or the clients that I work with. For almost all the clients that I have, we have paid budget. So we always use paid advertising to get boost in either the growth, or we're driving traffic from Instagram to their pages. But what's happening right now is on Instagram, if you want to see organic reach, there are a couple of things that are working really well. The Instagram Reels. And there's a reason for that. Instagram Reels is Instagram's copy of TikTok, right? So Instagram cannot afford, or they do not want to lose the short form consumer audience to TikTok. So what they're doing is they created this, Instagram Reels, I think back in September or October. So if people are creating content on Instagram Reels, they're getting a lot of organic reach. It's going to stop at some time, right? But for now, what my observation from September onward, even till today, we're getting a lot of like organic reach. If I put a video on my Instagram Reels versus my Instagram like normal feed, I get a lot more reach and views and actually organic growth from Reels. So doing Instagram Reels is helping. Going live on Instagram is helping a lot too. So, and that's part of the reason why I do a lot of live videos, because that brings a lot of new eyeballs without spending any ad budget. And again, it's super low tech. It's just me doing what I know, answering questions, right? So I'm not doing any prep. I'm not doing any fancy presentations. I just know what works for me, and then I double down on that. The other thing, one thing I've learned, so to answer your question, on Instagram, the organic reach is definitely there, but it has changed and it has shifted. So this is why you almost kind of have to have like a testing brain, right? Because you got to look at different things, because at some point, what the stuff that you were doing before, it would stop. And then when you look at the data, you'll realize, hey, this is not working now. So let me go do some, kind of like detective work and see, what other people are doing, or people who have organic reach, what they're doing. And you'll clearly identify the things. They're using Instagram Reels, they're going live, and then also they're using carousel posts. So carousel posts are those, multi-image posts. There are a lot of accounts on Instagram. All they do, one of my favorite is this guy, Chris Do. I think his account is the Chris Do, and he's a designer. But when you look at his content, I think every piece of like his Instagram post is like art. It takes me like let's say 5 minutes to create an Instagram post. It probably takes him like 5 hours, or sometimes even like 5 days. There's so much data. There's so much creativity. There's so much thinking behind his like one Instagram post, and that's the type of content that's creating Instagram reach now. But now the question becomes, are you willing to do that? Right. So going back to the Instagram definitely changed. So the things that we used to do in the past, they're not in the past. If you posted more and use the right hashtag, that will give you organic reach. But now that's not the case. You have another thing I've noticed and observed about Instagram, whenever they launch new feature, people who use those new features in the beginning, they get some love from Instagram. And again, it's not fair probably, right? But it's sort of like, we have to remember that it's their platform. We're using their platform, right? So we don't make the rules, they make the rules.
Right.
So to kind of wrap it up, great content. And for example, go look at Chris Do, and you can apply that to any niche. You can and carousels and also infographics. They're doing really well on Instagram. And then using Instagram Reels and Live. Those three things I'm seeing do a lot of organic reach. And I've tested it. Actually, if you look at most of my YouTube content is some sort of hacks or experiments that I do. I was not seeing any organic reach. And I started seeing organic reach with Reels and Live. And then I stopped and my organic reach went down. And then I restarted and it went up. And last month I was in Pakistan visiting my family. And Pakistan is one of the countries that does not have Instagram Reels. So I lost access to Instagram Reels and my reach went down. And I came back to States and I got access back and my reach started going back up. So I can clearly, and this is the type of stuff I make on YouTube to, document these type of experiments or tests. But, to wrap it up, it's not dead, but it's definitely very, 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 probably 10 times difficult now. But again, you gotta look at where platform is going. They want more Reels content. They want more short form content because Instagram has looked at the success of TikTok and they want to bring some of that to their platform.
That's awesome. I think that'll be super informative with people because they're freaking out. People are talking about maybe my account is flagged. I'll just delete my account and create a new one. Or people are saying, the metadata of the images, you need to put like the image alt tag in there to try. And it's people just scrambling because, we're at the point now where people don't even post their work onto their website. Their entire portfolio is just on these social platforms.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, Nick? It's so difficult because as consumers, if I like TikTok, I want to stay on TikTok. Don't tell me to leave TikTok. If I like Instagram, I want to stay on Instagram. If I like YouTube, I want to stay on YouTube. So it's becoming, and this is why paid advertising is getting expensive, because it's becoming really expensive to convince people, hey, stop what you're doing, stop that scroll, and click on my link and go buy my stuff or read my stuff. So this is, social, whether we like it or not, it's definitely becoming a bigger part of our culture. As consumers, we are hooked on these platforms.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's move to the next one. Another platform that is shifting quickly is YouTube. They just introduced, it's still in beta, YouTube Shorts. Stories have been around on mobile, and I use the community tab for doing posts also. And it's just it's not video curation anymore. It's a site for all the things. So what do you think about all these new gadgets and gizmos they put into place? Are you using them? And where do you think it's headed?
Yeah, and I think the same thing. I was actually on a Clubhouse with a couple of really big YouTubers and one of the biggest YouTuber, Mr. Beast. So he was there as well. And I think the guy that works with him on YouTube, his YouTube, so he was there. And they said something which really kind of caught my attention. I think they're really right. And it's something I said earlier about Instagram. So YouTube is probably kicking themselves because they still are the video platform of our generation, right? So why and how did they let TikTok win? They had all the data. They knew there's a group of people, Gen Z or other group that like short form content, but they didn't act on it. So here comes TikTok and they capture all that like market share or all that like audience. But here we are with, TikTok definitely proved that there's an audience, there's a group of people, they like short form content. Just say it, don't like waste people's time. Just get to the point, right? So where TikTok is, so they're coming up with this feature Shorts, which I think they announced it's coming. I don't have it yet, but it launched on March 18th, I believe. Basically, they want to compete. It's very similar to TikTok. You'll be able to create short form content, 15 seconds, or I think the limit is 60 seconds. Add music and text to it. If I am YouTube, I will do anything and everything in my power to make YouTube Shorts a success because I cannot afford to keep losing to TikTok. They will put resources, they will put money, they will give organic push to people. So one, I definitely think they'll do anything and everything in their power to give this a push. And YouTube still is our number one sort of like a video platform owned by Google, which is the number one search platform, right? So I think they have a pretty good chance of competing with TikTok more than Instagram. Now I definitely Shorts launched in last year too. They launched in India first. So even if you don't have access to the Shorts feature in your camera app, you can create like any vertical video that's less than 60 seconds, which means done by your phone. You can upload it to YouTube channel and use the hashtag Shorts in the title or description, and that qualify to be like a short video. So I started doing and playing with it. I'm definitely seeing a lot of organic reach. I'm doing it on my channel, but I also launched a brand new channel. It's called Tech Social 101, so technology and social. On that channel, the channel is very small. I think less than 200 people. Some of our shorts has like 20,000, 5,000 reach, and it's all coming from Shorts tab, the Shorts panel. And the viewing experience is when you're on the mobile and you're going through your YouTube home feed, you're gonna see like a panel, and it's like short form video. Once you go inside the panel, then it becomes like TikTok. Then you just scroll up and down. So I think I'm definitely like keeping my eyes on short form content on YouTube Shorts. I think for new channels or small channels, it could be a way to really compete with bigger channels, because YouTube has definitely become a very mature and saturated and difficult platform to grow, because it's been there the longest. There's a lot of content out there right now. You have to like have best of the best content to have like any chance. But I think YouTube Shorts is going to give us an opportunity to be able to attract some new. There's definitely with my small channel, I'm seeing some organic reach. A channel with less than 200 followers or subscribers and a reach of like 20,000, 5,000 consistently. I think that tells me, YouTube Shorts is going to have a lot of organic reach.
That's great. Yeah, I want to get on it. But it's like trying to fit a triangle into a square peg, because I don't know if that's short term, like that short form content, if that's really my bag or not. But I think like it becoming yours was part of it is because you did it. So not only did you find, was this your thing, but you also honed that skill of being able to talk more quickly and get to the point right away.
Yeah. And see, another thing, so the strategy right now, right? So what I do is I create content on TikTok. That's my one platform, right? And then I download that content, and same content goes to Instagram Reels. And then same content goes to YouTube Shorts, right? At some point, and actually Instagram kind of said that, I think probably a month ago, they said because a lot of time when Instagram Reels launched, a lot of people was just downloading their TikTok talks and uploading to Instagram Reels with the TikTok logo on it, and they let them do it because they wanted more content.
Right. Right.
Put as much as you can. Mm-hmm. But then they said, if your content has a visible logo of another platform, aka TikTok, it may not get reach. So what a lot of people, they're very easy ways, free apps, free tools where you can download without the logo of TikTok. So I think at some point they'll move away from that, because they can look at a video's metadata and identify where that video was made. But for now, I'm seeing this work really well for me, and also like other my peers, clients too. Create on one platform and then download and then use it on other ones. And that's what I'm on my new channel, on my main channel right now. I'm creating on TikTok and then saving it, and then uploading it to Instagram Reels and uploading it to YouTube Shorts. When I see that doesn't work, I may change my strategy, or I may not, because this is again, for my personal content, it's what's easier for me to do versus, hey, what does platform want? Mm-hmm. Right. So that's another thing, you can kind of decide. But I'll definitely, if someone is creating short form content already, upload some to YouTube, and it being a new feature, you're probably going to get a lot of organic reach and stuff. So that may be a really good way of getting some exposure to a brand new channel or a small channel.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to respect your time, but I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions real quick if you're ready for them.
All right, let's do it.
So let's talk tools. What are you testing currently, and what is something you can't do without?
So the tool I really like is Flick. It's a tool that lets you do hashtag research for Instagram. And the reason I like Flick is you attach your Instagram account to it, so it recommends you hashtag based on the performance of your account. So that's a Flick. It's flick.tech.
All right, nice. I'll check that out. What new platforms do you have your eye on?
BitCloud. So I got into Clubhouse, but not. I wasn't like that consistent. But just a couple of days ago, I discovered BitCloud. So I don't know if you heard of this or not. So BitCloud is. Let me see if I can explain this because it's very. I'm not like a crypto or Bitcoin guy, but this platform is kind of like Twitter, but it's built on top of blockchain. So another way to understand this is typically when we buy like stocks and stuff, we invest into companies like Apple or Tesla. What if I wanted to invest in Nick? What if Nick wanted to invest in Ali, like personal brand? So BitCloud is a platform that allows you to do it. So I've been recently lost like 3-4 days just studying it, looking at it, but it seems like this is going to be the next popular platform like Clubhouse that everyone will talk about in the coming months and weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, if it's not, then I'll call you out on it.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. As someone asked this actually over on my Discord, I polled people and saw if they had any questions. This one is gaming related, so I don't know if you will have an answer for it, but here it is. Why isn't there much social media advertising for mainstream and indie premium titles? The advertising I see is overwhelmingly for free to play.
Actually, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe there's always things and advertisers that are willing to pay more for certain things and not for others. So, for example, on YouTube, I know if you create content related to personal finance, you're going to make a lot of money because there are banks, there are other people, they want those type of people. Compared to if you make like pranks content or just, entertaining content, advertisers are willing to pay less for that type of, viewers compared to like personal finance. So that may be a reason, but I don't know. I don't have any insights into like, why the ads are, less for that.
Yeah. There you go, Matt. You stumped us both.
Yes, you did.
All right. So finally, where can people keep up with you and what social media experiments are you doing right now?
So connect with me. I'm Ali Mirza 2K, ALIMIRZA 2K on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and actually LinkedIn too. I'm super active on TikTok and Instagram. That's the best place to get in touch with me. The experiment that I'm doing right now, so I think I kind of mentioned this earlier. I was in Pakistan and I lost access to my Instagram Reels. And because of that, my organic reach, I was still doing everything the same. I was still uploading, videos as normal videos and stuff and going live, but my organic reach really declined. And now I got back. I have access to my Instagram Reels now, and I've started to see that it turn again and start getting more reach because I started creating Instagram Reels. So the experiment I'm doing is, what if I started doing, on my Instagram Reels, stop using hashtags? So I've always done and always said this, that use 30 hashtag because that's like what Instagram allows you to do. That's the limit. So as a small, business or creator on Instagram, if you don't use all 30 hashtag, good ones, you're kind of like missing out because hashtag can bring people to you. But I have seen other people, creators of my size, where they are not using or they're using very less hashtags on their Instagram Reels, and they're still getting, the reach and engagement, sometimes even more than me. So my theory is because of the Reels being so new, even if you didn't use hashtags, you're gonna get Instagram a lot of push from Instagram. So that's the test that I'm gonna do. It'll be up on my YouTube channel, pretty soon. I have always used 30 or very close to 30 hashtag. I've always suggested this, but now I'm gonna test the opposite on my Instagram Reels and see what happens.
Awesome. Ali Mirza, thank you for being the first guest on the Moby Pixel show. It's great to see your face once again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Nick.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later.